They kicked me out with a voicemail. No warning, no conversation, just my dad's cold voice saying, "You're out of the family business, Mia. Don't call back." And I didn't. I just replied with one word, understood. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if you've ever been counted out by the people you trusted the most. This story will leave you stunned till the very end. I sat in my tiny one-bedroom apartment, holding back tears as I stared at my phone screen. Just 2 months ago, I was sitting in the family business boardroom, working 12-hour days building their real estate empire. I wasn't just involved. I was the one keeping things from falling apart. But now, I was deleted like I never existed. So, older brother Ryan got promoted the same day I got pushed out. And guess what? He used to come to me to fix his mistakes. And now he's the one running things. Mom didn't even bother calling. Just a text. "Hope you understand. It's for the best. Focus on yourself." For the best. For who? I had given them everything. No weekends, no social life. I skipped vacations, cancelled dates, missed birthdays, all for that company. And the second I disagreed with Dad about expanding into shady condo deals, I became disloyal. But I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I went silent because they didn't know one thing. I had a copy of every financial report, every under-the-table deal, every lie they told to investors. Why? Because I cleaned up after their messes for years. And I kept proof. Not for revenge, just insurance. That night, I opened my laptop. Not to expose them. Not yet. I opened it to finally build the thing I always dreamed about but never had time for, my own business. Quietly. Secretly. Something that didn't have the Carter family name on it. For the next 14 months, I worked like a ghost. Coding during the day. Building investor relationships at night. I was invisible to the world, forgotten by my family, and completely alone, until I got another voicemail. But this one was from Ryan. His voice was shaking. "MIA, I know we haven't talked, but Dad's in trouble. The IRS is involved. We need you. Please, just come to the family meeting. We'll explain everything there." I stared at my screen. They needed me now. And that meeting was going to change everything. I walked into that meeting like a ghost returning from the dead. Everyone turned when I stepped through the door, shocked, silent, almost afraid. Dad didn't even stand. Mom pretended to sip her tea. Ryan gave me that fake smile he always used when he wanted something. I didn't say a word. I just pulled out the chair at the end of the long mahogany table, his chair, and sat down. The same one he told me I'd never deserve. Ryan cleared his throat. "MIA, we've hit a bit of a situation." I raised an eyebrow. "A bit." He looked down. Dad finally spoke. "We're being audited. Someone reported inconsistencies. They're going back 7 years." I almost laughed. 7 years of me saving their butts. 7 years of cleaning their books, fixing what Ryan broke, hiding Dad's off-record deals, and they thought they could delete me like a bad file. Now they were drowning. And they were begging the girl they left behind to throw them a life jacket. But I didn't flinch. "You need my help?" I asked. They nodded. I leaned forward. "Why me? Ryan's the golden boy now. Isn't this his job?" Dad's jaw tightened. "You know the system better than anyone." "Oh, I know," I said. "I built it." Silence. You could hear the air conditioning hum. Mom finally whispered, "Mia, please. This isn't the time for grudges." Grudges. I remembered crying myself to sleep when I lost everything. I remembered eating ramen for weeks, too proud to ask anyone for help. I remembered hearing my father's voice in that cold voicemail, choosing money over his daughter. And now they wanted mercy. "I'll help," I said slowly, watching the relief flash across their faces. "But there's a condition." Ryan blinked. "Anything." "I want full access to the books," I said. "Past and present. No redactions, no passwords, everything." Dad hesitated. "Why?" I gave a soft smile. "Because I don't fix messes for free anymore. I own what I clean. They exchanged nervous glances, but they didn't have a choice. They agreed. As I walked out, Ryan followed. Mia, he whispered, are you doing this to save us or bury us? I looked him straight in the eye and said nothing, because not even I was sure anymore. The moment I got access to the books, it all came crashing down. There were millions missing, wired to offshore accounts under fake shell companies. And guess whose name was attached to half of them? Ryan's. Not Dad's. Not the board's. Ryan's. He'd been skimming profits behind everyone's back, even Dad's, for years. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't kicked out because I disagreed with a business deal. I was kicked out because I got too close to something Ryan didn't want me to see. He set me up. He made sure I looked like the problem so no one would look at him. And Dad, blind, proud, arrogant, believed every word. My own mother stayed silent, because we don't break the family apart. I didn't cry. I clicked download all and transferred the files into a private folder titled Insurance. Then I made one more folder. This one was titled Rebuild. Because while they were busy burning the empire down, I was busy building my own. The truth. My startup was already pulling 6 figures a month. I'd signed 3 major commercial real estate contracts last week. One of them, and this part still makes me laugh, was with a luxury condo group that Dad had just been rejected by. I was becoming a name in the same industry they swore I was too soft for. But I stayed quiet. Because the plan wasn't just to succeed, it was to succeed so loudly that when I finally spoke, the echo would leave them breathless. And the opportunity came faster than I expected. Ryan called again. 11:03 p.m. voice shaking. They're freezing our accounts, he stammered. The audit team, they're asking about a Mia Carter Holdings. Is that you? I smiled. They're saying your company just submitted a buyout offer for 2 of our key properties. It was true. I had made the offer that morning, at half the market price, because I knew they were desperate. They're asking, Ryan continued, if you're the one backing the competitor firm that's been poaching our clients. I stayed quiet. He was spiraling. Mia, you can't do this. This is our family. You don't destroy your own family. I finally spoke. You destroyed it the day you lied about me. The day you pushed me out. All I did was understand. And then I hung up. Because the next morning, I was walking into that office again. But this time, not as a daughter. As the new owner. The next morning, I didn't wear revenge. I wore power, a fitted navy suit, clean ponytail, no makeup, just purpose. I walked into the same glass building where I used to pour coffee, take notes, and be told to stay in my lane. But today, I wasn't here to assist. I was here to take over. The receptionist stuttered when she saw me. Mia, you're here for? I smiled. The meeting. She hesitated. With Mr. Carter? No, I said, handing her a copy of the acquisition notice. About Mr. Carter. I walked straight into the conference room where the board had already gathered. All the same faces that voted me out, now sitting in nervous silence. Dad was at the head of the table, red-faced and stiff. Ryan looked like he hadn't slept in days. Mom didn't even raise her eyes. I dropped the file on the table. You have 48 hours to vacate the properties listed on page 2. The remaining assets, if you don't contest the buyout, will be transferred to Carter Holdings LLC. I paused. Which, by the way, I now control. Dad's voice cracked. You're bluffing. Try me, I said calmly, sliding the signed investor agreements across the table. You've been outmaneuvered. Legally. Quietly. Completely. Ryan exploded. You wouldn't do this. We're family, Mia. I turned to him. You made me family when it was convenient. You made me competition the day you pushed me out. He stood up, fists clenched. You'll regret this. I walked to the door and looked over my shoulder. I already did. Every night I cried myself to sleep, thinking I lost everything. But now I see it clearly. You didn't take anything from me. You freed me. Then I walked out, not with anger, not with tears, but with the peace of someone who built her kingdom from the bricks they threw at her. And outside that office was my driver, parked next to a black car with gold initials, MCH, Mia Carter Holdings. And that was just the beginning. 3 weeks later, an article hit the front page of every major real estate and business outlet. Daughter disowned, now CEO, how Mia Carter took over her family's empire from the outside in. The story went viral in under 24 hours. Investors called. Former employees reached out asking to join my company. Even reporters showed up outside my office, begging for interviews. But I kept my focus. This wasn't about fame. This was about freedom. One morning, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Mom. We saw the article. Your father isn't doing well. Everything is falling apart. We didn't know it would end like this. I stared at the screen, not because I was unsure of how to respond, but because, for the first time, I didn't feel anything. No anger. No sadness. No need for revenge. Just peace. A week later, I hosted a private event, not to celebrate them losing, but to honor the launch of my non-profit. One that helps young women in business who've been pushed out, silenced, or underestimated, just like I was. As I stood at the podium, I looked out at the crowd, investors, mentors, friends. People who believed in me without needing blood ties. I was told once that I didn't belong at the table, I said. So I built a bigger one. The room erupted in applause. Later that night, Ryan showed up at the event's exit, looking thinner, broken, quieter than I'd ever seen him. I'm not here to fight, he said. I didn't know you had this in you. I looked him in the eyes. That's because you never bothered to look past yourself. He nodded slowly. You won, Mia. I leaned in. No, Ryan. I survived. You just watched. As I walked away, the city lights danced on the windows, reflecting everything I had become, not just the CEO of a rising empire, but the woman they never saw coming. The voicemail that ended it all, I kept it. Not as a reminder of pain, but as proof that sometimes being counted out is the best thing that can ever happen to you. Because the moment I said understood was the moment I started writing my own legacy.